Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you another cast and Game 4 in the Best of 5 series between Dimaga and ESC Goody here on Terminus Ray. Terminus Ray, not part of your standard map pool, and may decide to discuss it a little bit later on, but we'll just see what's happening now as I get a little bit of a stuffy nose. ESC Goody spawning as the purple Terran player at the 6 o'clock position, Dimaga spawning as the red Zerg over here at the 9 o'clock position. The front door expansion, or the front door, does have a supply depot that prevents any walling off against a Zerg player, so the Zerg player doesn't have to worry about being double bunker blocked and can just rely on this one supply depot to be able to fend off any serious attacks. There is a low ground expansion here, so placing spine crawlers here or here and then bunkers here and here does effectively protect your main base and your expansion from this walkway. There is also a low ground expansion here that only has 6 mineral patches and then 1 rich Vespian geyser. So this expansion essentially returns 75% minerals and then 75% gas. 6 instead of 8. So 75% gas. So call this a 3/4 expansion as opposed to a full expansion. But it does help Zerg, as Zerg is able to easily establish a 3rd base. After that, though, it does get a little dicey. It is very difficult to establish your 4th base, as the center expansions are very much exposed to the rest of the map. You're better off trying to hide an expansion from your opponent by placing an expansion here or here at the other starting locations, or even just trying to wall off another location, grabbing the Xel'Naga watchtowers and being able to defend. We see a hatchery now being placed down by Dimaga. I'm currently about 1/3 of the way through. Dimaga now going into a spawning pool, and now it's going to be an argument whether he goes for an early extractor or not. If he does not go for an early extractor, he will have a stronger economy, but he will have a weaker tech throughout the game, but he will be able to train up queens. That is the key difference. If you go for an early extractor, you end up sacrificing the minerals in order to be able to get your queens that much earlier. You can see that he did get an extractor, but just a little bit later than normal. So this will allow him to still train queens, get a couple Zerglings, and keep up with his macro attempt. And I guess this TV screen does not work here in space. Not quite sure what is supposed to be there, as we now have a drone activating this Xel'Naga watchtower in between the 2 bases. A Marine now making its way down over here and now going to be able to shoot down one of those early overlords, and that is going to be critical. Oh, does not go after it. If he had shot that down, Dimaga would have to replace that very, very early overlord and then end up supply locking him, both hurting his economy and losing 100 minerals in order to try to replace it. We now see a drone making its way back over here as an SCV attempting to activate this Xel'Naga watchtower. Was quickly see 4 Zerglings running straight into its back. Goody trying to escape, but no, down it goes. So 4 Zerglings instead going to activate that Xel'Naga watchtower there. We can see a factory and now a starport. So Goody opting for the 1-1-1 build here on, I believe this is Terminus Ray. Hopefully I am not mistaken. So yeah, hopefully this is Terminus Ray. And at some point, Goody needs to perhaps set up a missile turret here. These vents make it very, very difficult for anything for you to spot beyond this location. There is an overlord currently watching this location here, as another expansion may be set up by Dimaga in just a moment. But we can see Dimaga opting to go for base defense. 2 spine crawlers, very, very nice natural defense in order to stop any early aggression. But we are now looking to perhaps get banshees. So double gas cloaked banshees now being researched, and that is a very interesting strategy, especially as I do not see an evolution chamber. We are currently upgrading to a hatchery, so a hatchery only takes 80 seconds in order to build or upgrade to, so that is perhaps the fastest way to be able to get a detector. All the other races need to go essentially into tier 3 in order to get their detectors, but Zerg only needs to go to tier 2, and their detector builds also the quickest after the spawning pool layer, and then straight into an overlord, into an overseer. So this cloaked banshee will not be that effective, but Dimaga needs to save up 200 gas in order to be able to use that ability, and we'll see if he even opts to do that. Is it 200 gas? No, it's 100 gas. 100 gas, and that should be easy for Dimaga to do. So I do not expect that much mileage out of the Banshees. One Banshee now on the move. The Banshee may be able to get 2, perhaps 3 kills before that one Queen is able to come over. Then you initiate the cloaking field, perhaps get 2 or 3 more kills, and then get back off. So there's 3 kills, and now maybe able to even get up to 4 kills as that Queen now battling it out. So 2 Queens now battling it out. The cloaking research doesn't look like it will be completed in time. Is it gonna? Oh, completed in time. And now that Queen down to 24 hit points, and oh, shot down as the Overseer pops up right there. So what? 4 hit points on that Queen. Natural hit point regeneration for the win there, as that Banshee almost got another Queen kill. That would have been critical, as Dimaga would have been forced to get and train up even more Queens. So are we going to get a cloak here? We should be getting a cloak here. I don't know why he's not focusing onto the lower hit point Queen there, and now deciding to back off. And there's the transfusion. So one spawn larva was lost. Banshee's now pulling away, and the Banshees did not deal nearly as much damage as Goody had hoped for. Zergling's now sitting off over here. One Banshee at the Xel'Naga watchtowers, pretty much doesn't see anything at all. A Hellion here should be able to see a swarm of Zerglings just outside of sight range, trying to get some attack in, and now getting some damage there, and now down goes that Zergling, but he was able to spot the expansion. A third base now being set up by Dimaga at the high ground location, at the 12 o'clock position. Instead of opting for this location here, it makes sense, as this expansion is so close to your opponent that, and this place is just dropped galore. Numanized, and Carapace currently being upgraded, so air being filled up into those Overlords so they can fly a little bit faster, and now Infestors being added. So Dimaga playing a little bit more of a tricky game, going for Infestors. Caster units are not generally used all too much on the Zerg side, as the Zerg does swarm much better. But one of the benefits of Infestors is that the longer an Infestor is alive, the better and the more it can be utilized, as it actually gains strength over time. Unlike many other units, such as Marines and Siege Tanks, they tend to take more and more damage and don't become as useful. But even Infestors with a lot of energy, mass fungal growth, Neuroparasite, able to get off a lot of damage, and now Neuroparasite currently being researched. That is not something I see very often. Glial Reconstitution also being trained up, as we are now see 12 drones being built. So currently Dimaga just power droning like a madman, will be able to get up to 60 drones in just a second. Overseer flying so fast and flying at the same movement speed as that Viking. The Viking unable to catch up to that Overseer, as that Overseer does move very quickly, and now dropping a Changeling. And now that Overseer is going to have a little bit of a problem there as it tries to fly away, and it looks like the Overseer is just going to get shot down, even though it does have the weapons or the movement speed upgrade. And oh no, natural regeneration, down it goes. I'm just splattering into space right there. You can see drones now being transferred to the 12 o'clock location. Dimaga gonna have a very strong economy, 66 drones currently in play. More Infestors currently being added to this army, so this is gonna be 6 Infestors. Too bad we didn't. Oh, do they have the yes, I do believe they had the pathogen gland research. So pathogen gland research, and now going in for a triple evolution chamber. This is a crazy macro style of play, especially as 20 Zerglings now being trained up once again. Income-wise, 1,600 versus Dimaga's 1,160. Things are not looking... 1,700 for Dimaga, 1,100 for Goody. Things not looking good for Goody at this point. Goody needs to get this additional base set up, otherwise he's not going to be able to stop the swarm. 1,350 versus 1,300. More Infestors still being added to the group. So Infestor is one of those units that both counter large units such as Colossus and Thors with Neuroparasite, and also counter a lot of swarm units like Marines with fungal growth. Both are going to be very effective against that Terran army, as that's what I believe Goody will be using. As those stores are now being trained, those stores are gonna very kindly, or would you kindly, kill each other and just rack up that damage. There is one cloaked Banshee now here, a Spore Crawler currently being morphed in. That Spore Crawler will start dealing damage towards that Banshee. The Banshee suffering 45 points of damage before being shooed away. There is one Spine Crawler here as well, training up a Queen as this Banshee looks to see how much more damage it can in fact do. The creep highway looking pretty pathetic. Only one set of creep tumors have made their way out across the map so far, as there is Zerglings over here. So pretty much Dimaga knows that Goody is still running off of 3 bases while he himself is running off of 4. Still power droning, he's still training up 6 drones. He will now get up to 81 drones, and at some point Dimaga needs to slow down his power drone as Goody is starting to get a very large army. Goody's food count at 129, but his army size in terms of minerals is about double. Gas-wise, it is pretty much even, but with 7 Thors, if those Thors and siege tanks are able to shut down the infestors, once the infestors go, this entire army is essentially made of glass. Once these infestors are gone, which they are easily taken out, since they only have 90 hit points, the rest of the army will soon follow. And we'll see what's going to be happening as we are now going into Hive Tech. So Hive Tech, we are getting the Ventral Sacks, and then every single upgrade, Claw, Carapace, and Missile Attack upgrades, coming in from triple evolution chambers here. So Dimaga wants to go out and move out with his army with a bang, and perhaps just simply roll over his opponent. Extractor now down over here. There are a couple creep tumors down in this location as well, and they should probably start popping up into this location here to allow further and better creep spread. Hellions do have the level 1 weapons upgrade and Infernal Pre-Igniter. I do not see a Raven though, so with no Raven, the creep tumors are... Oh, there's that Raven. The Raven now going to just highlight where all these creep tumors are and now slowly move out. Does Dimaga have a large enough army, or is Goody just going to be able to attack move with this very impressive force? Roach is now moving out, Infestors now moving out. The Infestors do not want to engage against those siege tanks. Those siege tanks are going to be able to tear them apart. There's the scanner sweep and mass Infestors with so much energy. And now Goody seriously has to reconsider how he wants to do this. So many units now continuing to move around. Are those Infestors going to be able to do anything? There's a fungal growth stopping many of those units in its tracks. Are we going to get another chain fungal growth off onto those units? Another fungal growth. There we go. Baneling simply running in, sacrificing himself. Another fungal growth. Just immobilizing that whole entire army there. And more roaches now trying to push in. So more fungal growth continuing to be chained here. Those infestors need to get off some neuroparasites, or perhaps get some creep tumors. And there's the neuroparasite destroying each other's stores. They need to start turning around and start shooting at each other. No, the roaches are just going to do it for them as they take more damage. 5,000 versus 3,650. Siege tanks now going to start moving off over here, and this is going to be a problem as Goody is going to be able to stop any reinforcements from pushing in. The roaches now need to be very careful as the roaches and infestors now move in. In come the Thors, and the banelings are coming in from behind. There's the neuroparasites absorbing so much. Banshees and Thors, both sides battling it out. So much neuroparasite and so much damage is being dealt. Dimaga losing Thor after Thor, but the neuroparasites are starting to wear off, and now down to a 1350 army. Dimaga only has 3, count them, 3 of his infestors left, and they are all pretty much low on hit points. So Goody, who had a 2,000 mineral army advantage, who didn't relent in his macro with a 3-base push, looks like he's going to be able to take this. Dimaga a little bit too aggressive in his drone production and not enough in his army. It looks like he's going to be losing this expansion and perhaps losing the game in just a moment. No, we have a large production of units now coming in. Roaches and infestors. Roaches now trying to move out. Siege tanks in the back, getting a lot of blast in as well. Both sides battling it out. Thors are getting taken down, but there are no SCVs to repair them. Thors are now upgraded 1-0 still, as more siege tanks and now 22 roaches currently being queued up. The Thors do have a lot of room to maneuver still, as the siege tanks need to unsiege. No, the siege tanks, yeah, finally gonna decide to unsiege. Hellion's gonna finish off the rest of these Zerg cocoons before they are able to hatch. And now siege tanks perhaps just gonna walk up into the high ground here, take down a large swarm of roaches now coming in, sieging up, and now in come the roaches. The roaches, however, are not attacking, just rallied. And that was a complete waste of about 20 roaches there. 20 roaches just walking by, taking a lot of damage. And now, army-wise, 1350 against 4650. More roaches still making their way in. More roaches taking down these siege tanks. A lot of siege tanks up on the high ground, finishing off those roaches there. And there's the GG. So Dimaga, who had such a large advantage, now losing to Goody here in Terminus Ray, losing 3-1. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and this best of 5 series between Dimaga and Goody.